Got it up. Okay, then you've been watching a lot of film. I already know it, you sicko. So let's go over why the Seahawks lost in Week 5. Bump, what's maybe at the top of your list?
Top of my list would be defensively. They were not sound technique-wise and responsibility-wise. Not making excuses for these dudes, because if you're on the football field, you got to go win that ball game. And Mike McDonald also said that he has to do a better job of making sure these guys are in position to win the ball game. But there were some plays where the secondary was influenced by route combinations, would make them deviate from their priority, which is just to do your job. Like, you're trying to make a play, and the design of what the Bucs were trying to do influence you to deviate from what you're supposed to do, therefore leaving guys wide open. Like, Emeka Egbuka had a great game, but there were a couple instances where I'm like, bro, just do your job and you'll be good to go. So what I did is I charted the more explosive plays for the Bucs.
You have a lot of choices.
Yeah. So there's a 24-yard gain, the 17, all through the pass I looked at. 24-yard gain, 17-yard screen, 27-yard play, 20-yard play, 19, 57, and 25. And I'm looking at these plays, and there's only really 2 plays where my note says good for them. Like, they just made a play. Say, for example, a 24-yard gain to Emeka. It was a great throw by Baker to find the hole over the flat defender and under the deep player. So it was just Emeka getting wide. You have your corner over the top of Emeka. You have your flat defender underneath. Baker just makes a good throw. Like, what can you do in that situation? But then there are other plays. The other plays where, say, there's a 20-yard touchdown to Emeka, that the one going towards the Hawks' nest, okay? What happens is the guy inside in the slot runs like a dig, and Emeka runs that skinny post. And my note says, looks like cover 6. So cover 6 is one side, you're playing cover 4, one side you're playing cover 2. To Emeka's side that he was on, you're playing cover 4. So that means your safety is playing a quarter of the field, your corner's playing a quarter of the field, and then you have your underneath guys playing the flat. Looks like Kobe, instead of, I think it was Kobe, I forget, whoever the safety, instead of getting his quarter of the field, all right, the influence. I think it's Kobe, right? The dig influenced him, and he starts to try to cover the dig. And that false step opens up space. And now Emeka is behind the corner already. There's no safety help in that seam area. And he makes a play right there. So the skinny post comes open. Yeah. Maury pointed it out during the postgame show that they ran the exact same play against the Houston Texans in that situation right there. So it's just like you're trying to make a play. And this is why teams have these route combinations. As an offense, we're just trying to influence you. I'm trying to make you take one false step. Either you're going to cover me, or my guy's going to be open, or going to be disciplined and have to make Baker Mayfield make a great throw. So there were instances like that in the secondary, but you can't just put it on them.
Yeah.
They did not get after the quarterback, all right? Usually you're getting hits on the quarterback, you're sacking the quarterback. I had one sack on this guy.
Not until late, too.
One sack on Baker Mayfield. The defensive line wasn't able to create the pressure that they're used to creating, too.
How much of that is because DeMarcus Lawrence is gone? Because entering into this game, I felt that Julian Love might be your costliest absence. And after that, I would have put Devin Witherspoon before DeMarcus Lawrence. And it's not because he's not an exceptional athlete, but I thought, well, God, we saw them turn into a really good defense last year without him. And while he's stellar this year, I feel so good about Leonard Williams and that defensive line as a whole and the front seven with Ernest Jones. But how much of yesterday's rush issues were not having Lawrence?
Yeah, Lawrence has been...
and Hall ended up leaving also.
Yeah, great for this team. Exactly, great point. Hall, Lawrence, you just didn't have your dogs out there. So when you don't have your dogs out there, I think this is where Mike McDonald's looking at himself and saying, okay, I got to do better. All right, how can I create that pressure if I don't have my dogs? If I can't just line up 4 and say, go get the quarterback. You got to do some things to help some guys out. You got to slant. You got to stun. You got to do some things to help these guys out. But it's a team sport, man. It's next guy up for sure, but the next guy is the next guy because he's not as good as the guy in front of him.
Yeah. I have. God, I apologize to either of the DBs that I'm crediting incorrectly for it, but I just wrote down Egbuka and then like Nehemiah Pritchett on the 20-yard touchdown. Being involved there, and then Ty Okada on a 2-point conversion. So just 2 names that you're not usually going to see out there. And Kobe, I couldn't remember if Kobe was on the 50-yarder or that touchdown, but he was for sure in there with Job on one of those.
He was there on the he was the safety to the play side on the touchdown.
And he's so talented. Like it's you know.
Guys get beat all the time in the
exactly.
NFL. This is it.
From the text line, they lost because Myers shanked a field goal.
That helped. That contributed to the loss for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the score, you lose by 3. You're thinking just make a field goal and you're in the game. And, yeah, this is something that has kind of bit them in the butt a couple weeks now, a couple times this year, where Myers does miss a makeable field goal. And nothing's guaranteed when you go out there and kicking it, but you feel like he's more than capable of making that.
Yeah, I think that's – if you were making a blame pie, that's absolutely a slice of it. You cannot look at this game and, as to Bump's point, a very makeable field goal. It's not like it was like, from 65, Jason, give it a try for the record. Like, it's just, This is something you should nail. That being said, when an opposing quarterback throws for over 350 yards and is almost 90% on completion, and when an opposing offense is 7 for 11 on third down, Jason Myers isn't at the top of my list.
Nah.
That's a defensive failure.
Yeah, it was. And the Bucs, man, sometimes you have to look across to the other sideline and say, well done. Like, they attacked the middle of the field, and it was the influence. Like the last 25-yarder that Emeka had, you're in cover 2. 2 eye safeties, corners have the flat. You got hooked across by your backers. Your Mike linebacker is playing the middle of the field. So in cover 2, obviously, you're looking at your Mike linebacker just to kind of cloud some things up in the middle of the field. And the Bucs, they line up. They either anticipated they're going to be in cover 2 or they knew they're going to be in cover 2. And what do? Mike linebacker is going to be influenced by this running back. Let's go ahead and swing this running back to the left side. And Baker was on point. He takes his eyes to the left, influences the linebacker. You got your backer swinging that way as well, knowing dang well he's going to this dig to the right side, and he creates that space. Baker Mayfield looked like a veteran quarterback who knows what the heck he's doing out there. You combine that with the play calling, and then Emeka is going nuts. I mean, the way they were dialing up some plays was beautiful, and the way they were influencing this defense was beautiful. Man, I watched that film. I wouldn't call it fun. I haven't appreciated watching an opponent's film like I did the Bucs last night, because what they were doing was cool to watch.
I have a couple texts here about that Jalen Milroe decision, and in both on not only Jalen pitching that back, it being overthrown, but the decision to put in Jalen when at that point in the game, Darnold was like, I saw Mike Verrell tweeted out, I think he said Darnold at that point was like 7 for 8.
Yeah, they were moving a rock finally, because the start of the game was a little sloppy, all these penalties and stuff. You're kicking the football. Me personally, I didn't like the decision. If you're going to put Milroe in that game, I say just let him run the ball. Just run it, because when you're running an option like that, it's such a chemistry type of play. Like, people who run the speed option, it's a part of their offense. They rep it every single day. You're going to see it on Sundays and on Saturdays or on Fridays. This is something that they do. With this, it didn't feel like this is something that they do. It's just, let's try to get him a touch. If you want him to get a touch, give him the football and just let him run. And if it works out, we're saying, oh, my God, what a genius play. I can't believe they pulled that off. But if you know anything about that speed option, there's so much chemistry that goes into that. You got to rep it 1,000 times to really understand it. I didn't like it. I guess I can understand why they did it, but I would have just kept the good times rolling with Sam Darnold.
Last one here from the 360. We need a legit pass rusher. We're full of bargain bin pass rushers who aren't getting it done. Open the wallet and buy one.
It's crazy what a week does.
Right?
What 1 week does.
The rush, they've actually been one of the best defenses in terms of generating pressure.
Creating pressure, hitting the quarterback.
Top 5.
Sacks. There's a reason why they were top 5 in interceptions, because they're getting pressure with those guys. Like, let's calm down with that. It is
a collective effort. They've been doing it very much with the premise of, and you've had great segments on this, like being a group collective effort to generate that pressure, as opposed to one Myles Garrett, right?
Yeah.
But that being said, they have been a top 3 defense through 4 weeks entering today.
Yeah.
Or entering Sunday.
Yeah, now injuries are going to change some things, right? You might have to go get some guys and switch some things up, but let's remember who they were before this game. They got after the quarterback. And you know what? This offensive line and this offense stopped the Bucs from getting after the quarterback too. Like, the Bucs get after the QB as well.
I'll say this, though. You got to get after the quarterback, so lots of fair points by everyone. Some we agree with, some we disagree with. For instance, the Myers point is completely fair. It's not top of my list, but it's a completely fair one. The Jalen Milroe decision is a completely fair point. Yep. Not at the top of my list, but great point.